we can see that basically it gives us our signals that we have asked for. So for this particular stuff, we have something in this moment. It says sell, here it says buy, do nothing, sell, buy. Hello everyone, welcome to our today's video tutorial about how you can use your own GPT models to automate and even improve your own trading strategies using artificial intelligence. So a short disclaimer, we are not professional traders or experts in finance field. What we would like to show you on this video is how you can use our no-code BotX platform to employ the power of GPT models and more specifically target the trading strategies and how you could use that in everyday life. So this is going to be a little bit simplistic, but the point is fully valid. It's about using the power of GPT models to improve your trading standards and even trading gains. So without further ado, let's get started. So this is my testing BotX account, and as the first thing I am going to do is to create the database that will basically hold the portfolio. So as I said, I'm not a trading expert, so I don't even know what kind of stocks or companies my portfolio should contain. So the first part of this video tutorial is about basically using GPT to do just that, to basically come up with the strategy and portfolio based on the actual news articles and basically sentiment on the market. So let's go to Data Studio, and I have already created my hedge fund system here. It already contains some of my previous testing portfolios, but let me, just for the sake of this tutorial, let me go just from scratch and let's create a new portfolio table. So let's call this portfolio number 2. Okay, next. Okay, and we want our portfolio to contain just a simple information for the beginning. So we need to know the name of the company that we want to have in our portfolio, and we also would like to have a stock symbol. So this is basically just a short identification for the particular stock of particular company. So just two basic fields. This is sufficient. Let me save it. Okay, my portfolio has been saved, and let's just go and test it. And yes, perfect. You can see portfolio 2 is here. So, and it's empty. So what do we need right now is some artificial intelligence agent that is using GPT to basically fill this table for me. So as I said, I'm not a trader myself, so I will first have to create a GPT agent that will basically do that for me. So let's create a new cognitive diagram, and let's call these, for example, my hedge fund GPT portfolio creator. Okay, that's pretty long name, but let's just go with this. So it will be cognitive diagram, and let's finish. Perfect. So let's go straight to our new cognitive diagram, and let's go to our hypergraph editor here to basically design the agent. So as the first thing we will need to do is to create input data. So it's always input. There must be always some sort of input, or not always, but in most cases. And the next thing we need to do is to add OpenAI GPT API, because we are going to use OpenAI for these purposes. And basically we want to have some sort of output just for the beginning. And of course, important thing that we have to add is the web search. because we want our GPT agent to employ the latest news and articles about basically the mood, about the trading and business world generally speaking. So let's use our web search here. Okay. So what we need to do right now is to basically make a little setup and of course connect our nodes. So for the web search, we are going to use Bing Search API, and we are interested in the news search because, well, we suspect that all the important things about markets and businesses will be in news. We want about 50 results in our result list. We don't really care about countries, so let's go with these global settings. And the search input term should be something like I have prepared here, like basically stock market business news. Okay. We will also need a Bing API key. So this is very simple to get. If you have your Azure, Microsoft Azure account, you just add new resource, and basically you can follow a lot of tutorials online about how to get your Bing Search API key. It's very straightforward, so I am not going to show it here. I will just go and use my testing API key here, and that's it. That should be it. So here we will have our news articles, and before we feed all those news into GPT, we also need to transform those results into a single text. So as you know, GPT can handle input as text, so we need to make sure that all those articles are just in one big blob of text. So let's do that. Let's use our set transformation node here, and we are going to join the array to string. So let's connect these nodes now. So input goes, it starts with web search. The result of web search goes to our transformation, where we are going to basically get the value from Bing description. Because we want to know more about all those particular news, and not just headline, but full description of the article. So if you know Bing API, you know that description is that's the field that basically the Microsoft is returning from this service. And as the separator, let's just use the semicolon here. And we want to save the result into joint string property. So now that we have our joint string property here, let's just connect it to our OpenAI node here. And first things first, we will have to use authentication. So I will use my OpenAI API key. And again, this is also very simple to get. You can just click here this link, OpenAI API keys, and basically this will get you to the OpenAI page where you can get your own token. So the next thing we need to set up here is the model. So let's use just GPT 3.5, which is ChatGPT. We do not care about training yet, at least not in this tutorial. And the setup, this is where the magic happens, basically. So we care about text completion, and what we would like to ask GPT agent is to basically give us all the information about all those search results. So let's get here my testing prompt, and as you can see, this is joint string, and here I want to basically, as it says, as a hedge fund expert, create a portfolio of 7 companies where to invest today to maximize profits. The following text contains a semicolon-separated list of market and trading-related headlines and news to target your portfolio. And return the JSON array of objects with the company name and stock symbol. So this last sentence, it's also important because this instructs the GPT to basically provide the response in certain format that we can handle here. And here we will just put all those joint articles from online. Okay, so this looks perfect. Let's go to advanced parameter. This can stay as it is. And the output, this can basically also stand as it is. I will just use this GPT response just for the output. Okay, so let's connect this to the output. Okay, and for the output, let's just put the this particular string. So it's the GPT response simply, and just make sure that you have BotX string compiler here as your compiler option. Okay, so let's close this, save the diagram, and let's go to details and switch on the bot. Okay, so the bot is ready, and we can go straight to debug and just try to send the request. Okay, and we have our answer. And as you can see, we have our output here. So basically this is at the moment something that GPT has somehow found out based on all the news articles, a very small portfolio of companies that it could be probably interesting to invest in. So we have a JSON format here as we instructed the GPT model. And basically now that we have verified this, let's switch off the bot again, and let's instead of going to output, let's just save our GPT results into our database that I have created earlier. So let me just duplicate this tab, and let's go to Data Studio, my hedge fund, and my portfolio number 2. So right now it's empty, of course it's empty, and we want this data to be saved into our database. So let's do just that. First of all, because it's in JSON, we have to convert from JSON the output of this data. So let's do that. And then we have to just basically save the data into database. So that's the memorize node here. So let's just connect it there. Let's open the memorize node, and let's just select your system first. So we must make sure that the data is going where we want them to go. So my hedge fund, portfolio 2, and let's insert data, and let's clear data frame before insert. So if there are any data and we are just experimenting and executing the bot again, then let's just make sure that we always will see the fresh database there. So just this checkbox will make sure of that. And we must do a simple mapping here. So we just must tell what we set to GPT. We said that basically company name and stock symbol are the data. So we have to tell it. So company name goes to name, save, and it was a stock symbol that will go to stock symbol. Okay, so let's just save this. And into our convert from JSON, we will also need to make a little adjustment here. Basically, because we are outputting this response into GPT response, we just need to make sure that we are converting JSON on this particular property. And also we want to make sure that the GPT response is in the output ports here. So let's do just that here, like that. We will add GPT response. So add it there. There you go. We have our GPT response here. And what we also want to make sure is that this is connected properly. So not from output, but we want the GPT response to go to memorize, just like that. Perfect. Okay, so that's it. We can close this and let's save our diagram here. And let's switch on the bot again. Okay, so our bot is ready. And let's just go to debug page and let's try to execute the bot. Okay, perfect. So let's go to our database and let's try to refresh. Perfect. And as you can see, we have 7 companies here. So again, I'm not a trading expert, so I will just say that I think it looks interesting, but perhaps some of you viewers will know better if this makes any sense or not. Anyway, I think based on the choice, I would say it's not a bad choice, but of course that's thing about GPT. We just asked it about opinion. So once we have our opinion, and this is important to say here, that it doesn't need to be, of course, a generated portfolio. It can be simply your own portfolio of companies that you already have. But one, of course, important thing about hedge fund, again, me not being an expert on finance, but the hedge fund, the idea of hedge fund is about basically isolating the risk. So, of course, market sentiment and all these things, they play a very important role. It's not only about technical indicators these days that will predict the outcome of your stocks, but it's also, of course, at the end of the day, we are people, and it's about emotions, it's about human behavior, it's about all these things. So that's why GPT can be very useful for hedge funds, basically to automate and analyze the risk of particular stocks or really any other commodities or even forex, maybe trading online. So what we want to do in this second part of this video tutorial is basically fulfill this hedge word, the part of hedge fund. So we have fund, but now we have to basically make a GPT that will play the role of hedging the fund, so to speak. So let's just do that. We are going to create the second cognitive diagram here. And let's call this, how I called the first one, that was my hedge fund GPT portfolio creator. So the second one I will just name portfolio manager, like that. So next, finish. Okay, perfect. I will go straight to bot details to set it up, basically here. Okay, so I am now in my portfolio, in my new portfolio manager bot, and let's go straight to Hypergraph editor, and let's get started. So first, we will need to basically input our data that we have in my portfolio here. The next thing we will need to do is for each of that company in my portfolio, we want to do search basically on the online. So for each of my company, I want to search online about that particular company. So I am interested in news search. In this case, 10 articles for each company is just okay for these demo purposes. And the search terms should be something like stock market, business, news about, and there will be basically that particular name of that company that we are searching here. So the API key, further, I will use just my testing one here. And once we have articles about each company, we basically need to make again a giant blob of text, because GPT can understand only the text. At least we are not talking about multimodal models, of course, just this is about text processing. So let's just do that. Let's go and make it like we did in the first place. So we will use our set transformation here, and we will join the array into basically big text. So this will be big description, because just like we did before, we are interested in the not just in headlines but in the description of the article, and the separator should be just the semicolon, and the output name will be joint articles. Okay, joint articles, perfect. So the next thing we will need to do is basically what we want to ask GPT is to simply say, hey, here is my list of companies, and here is the basically list of articles about all those companies. So what we will need again is to input our companies again, and here also I forgot to select my hedge fund and my portfolio. Okay, and I will also disable cache just to not have any surprises. And okay, let's just go with this. And here we will do the same thing. So from my hedge fund, I am interested in companies in my portfolio. And again, let's disable cache, and let's just put this number to 2 because it's the second DCS here. So again, we want to make a giant blob of text out of this, but in this time we want to make it just comma separated, so it's easily understandable by GPT basically. So we will put those companies here in the transformation, and we are going to join it. And in this particular example, let me just put actual size. In this particular examples, we want to know about basically company name, and into brackets we will also put, just to be more specific, we will put there the stack symbol and separated by just comma in this case, and let's call it joint companies. Let's just make sure it's called stack symbol. Yeah, stack symbol and name. Perfect. So here we will have our basically 2 blob of texts. And now we need to basically put it all together. So let's go to another transformation. And this one will be cross join. Cross join, that's basically when you have a data on one side and on the other side, and you want simply to put it all together. So it's similar, like for example inner join or left outer joins and all these joins that you know from SQL. But cross join, it's like basically it's like Cartesian product, so it will basically multiply everything with everything, which we want in this case. So I will just close this to make more space, and once we have our data here, we want basically to feed this to our GPT. So GPT, this is our hedge brain here, and let's just set it up now. Let me just make this a little bit smaller. Okay, so let's feed this to GPT and open GPT settings. So the first thing, again, I will just use my testing API key here, and let's use GPT 3.5 and no training, and here the setup prompt will be basically text completion. And in this case, we want to say to GPT like, hey, as the hedge fund expert, validate the following list of companies in my portfolio against the market news articles below. separated by semicolons, and create a signal strategy for each company in my portfolio, either to do nothing, sell the stock, or buy more stocks. And again, we need to basically have the result in the JSON string. So we can basically communicate this with another APIs, or if there would be some other third-party system, that's also very useful to have. Okay, so this should work, and the output parameters, let's just keep this as it is. It's just in this particular case, oops, my Apple mouse is having a little trouble today, so sorry for this, but let's just go to output data, and connect this to output data. There is no need to basically save this particular JSON for this tutorial anywhere. Let's just set this last node. It will be basically from the output. It will be GPT response, like that. Okay, perfect. Save. So we have our manager ready. So let's just go to our details and switch on the bot. Okay, so our bot has started, and let's just go straight to debug page and execute our hedge fund manager. Okay, perfect. And we have our results here, as you can see. So in this case, as I mentioned, there is no need to just save this information anywhere for this tutorial, but I can imagine if you could have your own trading system, and there's just nothing easier than just to basically call some sort of API or stuff like that if you would like to automate this completely. But in this case, we can see that basically it gives us our signals that we have asked for. So for this particular stuff, we have something in this moment. It says sell, here says buy, do nothing, sell, buy, buy, buy. So I guess this is our result here. As we can see, it works beautifully. Here I would maybe add that what is the important thing about GPT models is that basically we can fine-tune our GPT models. So if you would be working for some sort of financial company, and you would have some sort of internal data or standard operating procedures about what to do when, then this particular GPT brain here that we are using basically to ask the question about the market, it could also be fine-tuned. So we also tell it additional information which is part of our internal know-how. So it would basically know what to do, what to basically choose, when to choose it, and stuff like that. And about this fine-tuned GPT, we have our video tutorial on our YouTube channel where you can, if you would be interested, you can have a look. I will put it into comment under this video, and you can have a look and see how you can basically fine-tune your own GPT models in the BotX. Okay, so that's it, guys. That's all for today's video. As I said, this is just a very simplified version. Of course, in the real world, it's much more complicated. But I believe it gives you the idea about this particular topic, and I'm sure you guys will have plenty of ideas how you could do something amazing with this. Okay, so thank you again, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you. Bye.